which is a review of interval notation and solving inequalities. Feel free to do a screen capture. This is just a definition of what interval notation is. It's just another way to show an interval or when x is not equal to just one number. So the main thing to keep in mind is that whenever it is equal, okay, so if we're talking about one of these inequalities where it has the line under, we're going to use a bracket. But if it's not equal, okay, so the inequality does not have a line under, we use parentheses. Anytime x is greater than or less than, that means it's either going towards infinity or less infinity, is either going towards infinity or from infinity. So just remember that infinity always gets a parentheses, infinity. Okay, and so no bracket on infinity. So it's either going to be that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's practice just writing some intervals. Question number 1 says that x is in between 0 and 4, is greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 4. So if you're graphing it, it will look like a segment with 2 closed points on the ends. Because it's equal, we're going to put a bracket on the 0 and on the 4. Question 2 says x is greater than 8. It's not equal to, so that's really important. So it does not have a closed circle, it's open. And because it's greater than, it's going towards infinity. Okay, so the way we would write that would be 8 gets a parentheses because it's not equal to 8. And it's going towards infinity. Infinity always gets a parentheses. Question 3 is also in between two numbers. So x is greater than -1, but is less than or equal to 2. So -1 gets a parentheses and 2 would get a bracket. Lastly, question 4, x is less than or equal to 3. So it is a closed circle on the 3, and it's coming from negative infinity. Okay, so in interval notation, it's just like reading a book. You read it from left to right, or the smallest number to the largest number. The smallest number in the world is negative infinity. So anytime it's less than, we're going to start our interval with negative infinity. It goes to 3, and 3 would get a bracket because it's equal to. So let's practice solving some inequalities. Question 1 is pretty basic. We're going to add 7. So 3x is greater than 9. And then we divide by 3. X is greater than 3. That's the old school way to say it. Everything we do in pre-cal and from any math above pre-cal, everything is in interval notation. So that means that it's greater than. So on the number line, it's starting at the 3. 3 gets an open circle, and it's going to the right. So we would write that as 3 gets a parentheses, infinity gets a parentheses. When we look at number 2 is a little bit more complicated. We're going to distribute the -5. Then I'm going to add the 5x. And combine my like terms. Divide by 3. And I get -2/3 is less than or equal to x. That's backwards. Whenever we are talking about an interval, x or the variable should always be on the left, not on the right. So I'm going to switch it and put the x on the left. So when I switch it, I have to flip my inequalities. So what this inequality says is x can be any number that is greater than or equal to negative 2/3. Because it's greater than, it's going towards the right. Negative 2/3 gets a bracket, but infinity always gets a parentheses. There's only 2 more questions, so we will finish this on out here. Feel free to always pause the video. I recommend that you do pause it sometimes. Try to work out the questions on your own and then replay it, resume it to see if you are on track. So let's look at question number 3. I'm going to subtract the x. And then I'm going to add the 1. And then I'm going to divide by 2. So x is greater than or equal to positive 2, bracket 2 to infinity. Question 4, we're going to subtract 2. And then I'm going to divide by a negative. Anytime you divide an inequality by a negative, remember you have to flip your sign. So that gives you x is greater than or equal to negative 1. Negative 1 gets a bracket. Infinity would get a parentheses.